What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel. And today we're here for a new Madden 23 realistic rebuild. We're taking the hardest team in Madden 23 to rebuild. I mean, it's debatable now, but I think, you know, we made an argument that when you rebuild the Arizona Cardinals and you trade away DeAndre Hopkins and Budda Baker, that's the hardest. But now that I see this roster after the 2023 draft class, I still think it's unanimously the LA Rams are the hardest team to rebuild. There is not a lot that is good here on this squad. But the theme for today's video is not only trying to rebuild them with their draft class, but they got a brand new quarterback who is incredibly polarizing as he's one of the most dominant college players of recent memory. And he wasn't a complete passenger, right? It wasn't like the Georgia Bulldogs won what they won without Stetson Bennett. Like, he beat out a bunch of five-star quarterback recruits. He made a lot of good plays. Is that going to translate to the NFL? I don't know, but he was the surprise pick here of the Rams. So just to have a little bit of fun with it, starting with a 25-year-old normal dev rookie, we are going to try and not only build up the worst roster in the game, but we're also going to try to win with Stetson Bennett. So, like, there's a chance that when all is said and done, I mean, that 2023 draft class has been added to the team. We get Steve Avila here on the offensive line to go along with Stetson Bennett. We also have Zach Evans, talented running back out of Ole Miss, formerly TCU. We got Allen here, the rookie tight end from Clemson. On the defensive side, holy, this defense is not good. They got Hodges Tomlinson, hidden dev corner out of TCU. They got Byron Young, freak athlete of an edge rusher, ran a 4.40 at 250. That's going to be fun coming off the edge. You got Nick Hampton from App State, another great, rookie. But, like, they didn't have premier picks. They didn't have an opportunity to get, like, a blue chip type player, which their roster probably should have yielded them a pick to do so. But luckily that pick belonged to the Detroit Lions, and they drafted a running back or something like that. But I think the fact that, like, when you look at this roster, you look at, like, who is truly a long-term piece on this squad. Avila, Cooper Kupp, Cam Akers, Stetson Bennett, because we're going to try to make that a thing. But that's it on the offensive side. Who is a key piece on the defense long-term? You have Aaron Donald, Fuller, and then it's like, all right, maybe Ernest Jones, maybe Hodges Tomlinson. Other than that, I mean, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for guys that are going to get on the field early, potentially get dev traits and develop into a long-term starter. Like, we're going to need 3, 4, 5 of those rolls of the dice here in the first 2 years of this rebuild, or else we have an insane amount of work to do. But point blank period, man, this is the hard. We got a nice little Michael Hoyt, Canadian right there. That'll be pretty cool. But we got a lot of work to do, and on top of that, it's not like we got some cheesy, like the last time we did this, we ended up getting Hendon Hooker, who went God mode, got dev traits on dev traits on dev traits. We are now doing this with probably the most difficult, within the realm of possibility, 2023 NFL draft quarterback starter in Stetson Bennett. So let's see what we can do, man. I think if all said and done, if we can build this team here into a Super Bowl team, it's probably the best work we've done in terms of challenge. Let's get into year one. All right, we're mid-season. We actually just beat the Dallas Cowboys, and Stetson Bennett has a chance to break out. It's the most attainable one or fewer interceptions, 300 scrimmage yards, 3 touchdowns. They get off that normal dev, which would be massive. Also, to start stacking some victories here. Week 9 against the Seattle Seahawks at home. It's not like we're going to have to go deal with the 12th man or anything like that. We get the dub. We also had a breakup for Michael Hoyt, and he hit it. The Canadian, let's go. Up to a star dev on the defensive line, plus 10K XP. But honestly, we really just need the Stetson Bennett one. And he's already got player of the week once with, like, I can't remember. We'll go look at it in just a second here. Another big performance for Stetson Bennett. The man that dominated college football. Doesn't get the 10K XP, but he gets the star dev, which is massive. Like, that is 100% what we need. That's a starting point. I needed that at the end of the season. Getting it during the season is huge. And take a look at this. He got it, I think it was week 4. Yeah, look at that. 6 touchdowns. Did have an interception, but 6 touchdowns week 4 for Stetson Bennett. Congratulations to him. Congratulations. He has 19 touchdowns right now, which is tied for like 3rd or something like that. Like, Stetson Bennett is thriving in the NFL. And it needs to be said. And I'll admit this. I don't hate, like, there's a lot to be like, I'm not sure about with Stetson Bennett, right? There's a lot of like, Obviously, he's 5'11", super old, had the off the field, issue, stuff like that. Does he have the arm talent? Maybe, maybe not. But I think there's something. I'll upgrade these guys in a second there. I think there's something of like Jalen Hurts to Stetson Bennett, where it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, some guys are just winners. Some guys find a way to win at any and all levels. And maybe he has that. Maybe he does. But take a look at our contracts. I gave Matt Ariza a shot here. Obviously the punt god got cleared of some charges that obviously, I don't want to comment because you never know. Even if you get off on the O.J. Simpson thing back in the day. He's like, even if you don't get charged with anything, you might still be a dickbag. Well, I mean, it looks like, he just got fucking hosed, to be honest with you. So hopefully he finds a place in the league again. I know the Eagles need a punter. I'd welcome him with open arms. But yeah, we're going to keep him here because when we're hurting for star players, I'll even take a star punter. We also got Raleigh Patterson, 23-year-old kicker. We'll probably keep both these guys. Can't negotiate just quite yet, though, so we got to look down the line. We had Van Jefferson, I think, because we're just so lacking star talent, and he is a Florida Gator. I want to try to keep him here in the building. Keep him till he's 30. Obviously got 2-3 years left of his prime that he should be an ascending player. Jordan Fuller's one of our rare, that guy's actually kind of good, and I can see him developing very nicely. So we're going to try to keep him in the building 4 years, get him locked in for the main department. Same with Cam Akers. We'll take this. Not a lot of these guys want to buy in. They want to get overpaid a little bit, but literally all of our star guys are out of contract. I think Higbee's one that we could probably move on from. 4-year deal at 80. He's already at his ceiling. We just drafted, I think, the Davis Allen at Clemson. He's like a 74, 75 as a rookie. So let's get him on the field as soon as possible and have him take over for Higbee. But we definitely will come back and re-sign Cam Akers, Van Jefferson, Patterson, and Matt Ariza. At the end of year one, we somehow sneak into the playoffs. We beat the 49ers, which is cool, 9-8. And we have to find out right away who the best team is in the division, even though they have more wins. We can beat them. We can find a way to shock the world. That'd be pretty cool. Looking at the league leaders. Well, Aaron Donald's second in sacks. 16 sacks, 23 TFLs. But Cooper Kupp, like the last time we did a Rams rebuild, Cooper Kupp's insane. Everything here is insane. Why? This must just be like a user-generated thing. Because I do couple rebuilds a week. I don't see Matt Stafford. I don't see whoever succeeds Matt Stafford in LA put up these types of numbers. Stetson Bennett as a rookie, pretty much 5,000 yards, 44 touchdowns, 11 picks. Where's the challenge? Maybe there is no challenge. Maybe he's that damn good. Cam Akers a little bit disappointed, but it's just, I think it's honestly Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp is making everything work here. He is a cheat code in the slot. 148 catches, 2,300 yards, 25 touchdowns. I believe those are records. Those are both records. He just shattered multiple records in one season. We got Aaron Jones, 23 TFL, or Aaron Donald, sorry, 23 TFL, 16 and a half sacks. No one else really had a big year. But when you have Cooper Kupp, he might have got stuff in a game. Honestly, receiving yards. Anything for Cooper Kupp? Receiving touchdowns? Anything for Cooper Kupp? All right, in a season. Holy shit, okay. Well, Will Levis ended up going to Tampa. That's going to be fun to deal with. But receiving yards. Cooper Kupp shatters receiving yards record. Once held by Calvin Johnson. I mean, Cooper Kupp is legit. Chris Godwin broke it. And then we broke it by 300 yards this season. Touchdowns. We got 2 on Randy Moss. As much as we want to be like, wow, Stetson Bennett's really playing, I think it's the Cooper Kupp effect. Cooper Kupp is that damn dominant. Never gets any respect when people are talking about the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL. People talk about a wide receiver that is taking one of the worst roster in the game and having them win. And in year one with Stetson Bennett, all he does is freaking win. Wow, he almost went to the Super Bowl, making the NFC Championship game. We got something here. We rolled into the cheat code. Oh, look at that surprise Super. Oh. We rolled into the cheat code. We beat them. Green Bay, and they still got Aaron Rodgers. That's not updated rosters. That's faulty. That's a faulty win. But getting 2 playoff dubs, shattering records, maybe a potential superstar dev is in the cards here for Stetson Bennett based off of that performance. This year one couldn't have gone any better. And with Stetson Bennett, we did get another dev trait scenario up to a superstar, which, hey, offensive rookie of the year, superstar dev, got a star dev in season. Can't ask for a better role. Need it to, because, hey, not too often you start a video 5 years with your big, flashy, shiny new rookie toy. And by the end of that rebuild, they're going to be at their ceiling and probably regressing, which is the case with Stetson Bennett. Quarterbacks start to slow down 28, 29. So the fact that we're getting this early development in, we still got a long ways to go. He's only a 73 overall. But playing as he did, the connection that he has developed with Cooper Kupp, we need that. All right, look at the free agency. This is always a tough one because, like, we overachieved. We had some decent cap room. Who says we got to, like, commit to a multi-year? We're going to be aggressive here, trying to get star talent on both sides of the football here. So we got Grant Delpit, who's a common role at safety. He always tends to get a dev trait there in his final year at Cleveland. But we desperately need a strong safety. It's arguably our number one position that, like, we're lacking right now in terms of a starter. So Grant Delpit, there's another competitive bid there, but that'd be nice to bring him in, 25 with that superstar dev. We got Trevon Diggs, who is the top corner available. Our corner room is lacking in depth for sure. And I feel like just stylistically, out of all the like Diggs with his boom or bust intercept, like that seems like a LA style player. Diggs seems like a kind of guy who would love to go LA. And we need to replenish, you know, the top outside corner. We don't have Jalen Ramsey anymore. And then we need a bona fide wide receiver one on the outside. We have Cooper Kupp. He can play inside. He's our slot wide receiver. Big time playmaker. But we need like a legitimate, you know, Allen Robinson couldn't fill that void. But stylistically, T. Higgins, very similar build to Allen Robinson. Offers the same type of style to the offense. So we're able to land 3 new starters. And that is going to roll into the draft. We're going to hit, you know, I feel like we're getting 2-3 hits for sure in this draft. We're going to roll the momentum that Stetson Bennett and this team started year one. And we're going to do that with a big time draft to follow up, adding 3 impactful playmakers in free agency. All right, so at pick 29, not the biggest fan of what we're picking in the draft. No one's really screaming off the page right now. We got some corners and linebackers. I guess like the tops. We have Sergio Thurston here, has good combine, elite acceleration, elite agility. Base stats aren't the best. Argue could be made like there's something here with Amari rushing, even though he has D-man coverage, B catching, A press, B zone, which that's a weird skill set. But again, the combine's not particularly good. Looking at some linebackers that I decided to scout. We got 2 that look. We have Kerry Ellington, middle linebacker. He can play with Ernest Jones. Combine's not the best. Even the stats aren't that. It's a really weird spot. Honestly, I might even need to see what kind of trade we get. Best overall player that I think would be a solid fit, because he would play inside middle linebacker with us as well, which is a starting position, starting need for our team. 3 B's and an A here for Matt Hicks. Now, the combine's not incredible. The 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle is not too bad, but he still posts elite acceleration there in his rating. So I'm intrigued for sure. Literally the only other option is that we got one of those like 330-pound nose tackles down here, Peter Fitzpatrick. I'll probably draft that guy next. So I think all things considered, we'll just go BPA. Unless we can flip this first for a future first. I don't know how many teams will be trading up for pick 29 and giving me a 2025 one. If I can get a 2025 one, Cleveland will give us a first next year. So will the Niners. What kind of damage could we do with 2 first-round picks? Just because that linebacker, man, it's not a home run. I'm going to do it. I'll take that future first from the Browns. Literally, the only other guy on our board right now is the gigantic nose tackle, Fitzpatrick out of Alabama. We'll bring him in. No dev trait. I'm expecting he'll be in the 70s. This is the worst draft class I've ever seen. And we're locked out here with our 4th-round pick. I got a hidden dev safety. And he literally, because he's the only guy that had C's, he was just straight up C's across the board for all of his stats. I'll just show you right now. Like, look, usually you could find guys who are like, oh, that guy might be kind of good. Actually, this guy here, probably Burks, might be the best. Like, every single player, you're getting like F's and D's. Like, you can almost always find some linemen, find some super interesting linebackers that just have like A-zone coverage. Like, none of these guys exist. This is a truly disgusting draft class that I'm glad that we're able to get a future first, and hopefully next year we can kind of load up on some players for sure, because this is This is down bad. Like I'm supposed to get. I'm excited about drafting a D tackle with D block shed. I'm excited about it because that's as good as this draft gets. It's not too often I want to like just go like search the entire draft class. I think this is going to be like one of the worst drafts. Look, okay, so my draft was terrible. I ended up, at least the D tackle 71. I got the best athlete at tight end 70. Bradford, our only hidden dev player of the draft, 68 hidden dev. But like I unless like all the good players went before I picked. So we got a 79 D tackle, 79 quarterback. All right, the top end of the draft looked actually pretty good. But it looks like this was a top-heavy draft class. Once we get into the first round, I do want to look at that linebacker that we passed on because that was kind of a tough decision. It was Hicks or, trading for that future first-round pick. And Matt Hicks is a normal dev. We made the right call here. He's not even a freaking scheme fit there. Good athlete, though. But the fact that that was our pick. We got a future first. But I want to go into the second round. Like, are there gems here? We got a couple guys, honestly. Maybe we're just picking at a terrible spot. Maybe that's what happened. Was all the good players were going early rounds. Like after this, 75 wide receiver, actually pretty solid. Lots of 60s. This draft class doesn't look that bad, honestly. 73 center, late. Maybe I just couldn't read the board. Maybe there's no steals. I guess we did have a lot of day 3 picks. Get a 73 fullback. Who cares? I don't know. I thought it was a lot. Either way, we got out of it with a future. We got 2 first-round picks next year. Again, puts us in a great position to potentially trade up or do a lot of damage and hit on both those picks. Hopefully a better pool of players to pick from next season. And more good news rolling into year 2. Bobby Brown III, our defensive tackle. Stuck on normal dev last year. Actually had a dev trade scenario last year. Didn't hit on it. Makes the most of his second swing of it. Getting a star dev and 10k XP. And in year 2, pretty competitive. Given the moves that we made in free agency, Tron Diggs, T. Higgins, I was expecting us to be, in line with where we were last season. We got a player of the week here midway. Cooper Kupp just dominating with or without T. Higgins in the lineup. Cooper Kupp's an absolute cheat code with Stetson Bennett. But we need to take a look at some contracts here. As we're 7-4, 3-way tie for first place in the division. We got Aaron Donald up here. I don't even know. I would give him 5 years if that's how long he's going to play. He's here until he retires. Ernest Jones, solid starter for us. We'll get him on a 3-year contract. I can see his ceiling being the 80s. Michael Hoyt, maybe there's some Canadian bias, but I just want to continue to develop him here. We'll keep him in the building. Everyone else here is probably going to be replaceable. Bobby Brown did just get that dev trade. He's only 24. 25, 26, 27. Give him 4 years. Don't worry about it. It must be nice playing along Aaron Donald for your career. All right, the end of year 2, 10-7, third in the division, which is not the best, but it was a 3-way tie for first place. And we have opportunity to go on another playoff run. It was another year of dominance. Cooper Kupp is insane. Like this, I feel like this is what happened the last Rams rebuild we did with, who was it? Was it Hendon Hooker? It's a minute ago, but all I remember for that was I'm pretty sure Cooper Kupp was shattering records every single year. So maybe Cooper Kupp just elevates average quarterbacks. Because, look, these numbers don't make sense. And, T. Higgins is not even, that was a waste of money, bringing in T. Higgins. Because you just need one guy. He literally is taking over the league 27. He broke the record again. He broke his own record for touchdowns. And he's now second best season ever in terms of receiving yards. Absolutely incredible. Video game-esque numbers here in a video game. 28 TFLs, 13 sacks for Aaron Donald, 14 TFLs, 9.5 sacks for Byron Young. Good year from him. 20 TFLs, 6. And Michael Hoyt's an interesting player. If you load up Madden right now, he's listed as a left outside linebacker. He's 6'4", 310 pounds. Canadian monster. But just look at his stats. 6'4", 310. So he's built like a D tackle. And he got 84 speed, 88 acceleration, 88 strength with the boost, 80 agility, 87 pursuit. This is a ridiculous athlete there. I'm happy that we're able to kind of grow and develop him there a little bit. But year 2 ends with more of the same. Stetson Bennett brings over being a perennial winner from the college game to the pros. And we're going to see if we can go on a little bit of a run here. First round of the playoffs against the New York Football Giants. And unfortunately, we do lose in a shootout. We have a player of the week, which is Cooper Kupp, just doing Cooper Kupp things. 200 yards, casual 200 yards. My God, he's absolutely insane. And, we still got 3 more years to try to continue to build a squad here and get this team in the Super Bowl. And in closing at the end of the year, looking at our dev traits and such, Stetson Bennett's up to an X factor after 2 seasons. And again, as much as I want to give credit to him, as much as this is a guy that's going in the thumbnail, he was the reason why I think that I did a poll on Twitter. The teams that I think would be interesting remaining from the 2023 fall. It was like Seattle. Who's that one? New England, maybe? I definitely had Seattle in there. And then I put Rams with Stetson Bennett. And, it was overwhelming. People wanted to see it. But I think Stetson Bennett needs to, whatever payday he's about to get. Well, we actually don't have to give it to him because luckily we can go this whole rebuild without, on his rookie contract. That's why we make moves like getting T. Higgins and Trevon Diggs. We have something on a rookie contract. Let's try to win during that period. But, I've never seen a wide receiver get a quarterback paid this badly in quite some time. Cooper Kupp is incredible. He is the best sim wide receiver. I think Josh Jacobs is the best sim running back in Madden. And I think you have to now just say Cooper Kupp in the slot. Just ridiculous. Literally setting up numbers that, could not exist in real life, I don't think. Maybe they could, though, because Cooper Kupp's freaking amazing. But looking at the rest of the dev traits here, so on the offense, no other devs up or down. And generally, closing point on the offense is while everything else was pretty good. Definitely would like to see an avenue where T. Higgins plays a little bit better. You get 1,000 yards. That'd be pretty cool. On the defensive side, well, Bobby Brown got his dev trait in season, so our front 3 all have dev traits now. On the defense side, both Hampton and Byron Young, members of that 2023 draft class, get themselves some dev traits, as does Ernest Jones, who we just re-signed him. So if we can find a nice linebacker there to pair with him, I actually use Bradford here as a sub linebacker, just our hidden dev safety. He had some solid tackling attributes, but definitely want to try to find another bona fide starting linebacker there that can play next to Jones. Delpit keeps his superstar, which is awesome. Hodges Tomlinson, big name from that 2023 draft class, up to a superstar. That is huge. We're good, man. We're looking pretty solid. Definitely, I wouldn't say we're ahead of schedule, and that is still saying, yes, first year 1, we went to the NFC Championship game. But, in terms of, building this team, definitely not ahead of schedule. Definitely could still use a bunch of pieces on the offensive line. Could use an upgraded tight end. Need a linebacker. Could probably get a more proven pass rusher. Need another corner. Yada, yada, yada. I think going into year 3, we're definitely sitting really, really good, and a lot of that is due to Cooper Kupp and Stetson Bennett. So take a look at it, free agency here again. I mean, we're gonna be aggressive, maybe not super aggressive on the top end, but we're gonna get some nice role players here. Got Pat Freiermuth putting a nice competitive offer there. We need a new tight end. And I think that's an interesting one. I don't think I've ever signed him on free. I don't even think I've ever seen him in free agency. Usually the Steelers lock him up. So he's available. That would be pretty awesome. Then we got Devin Lloyd, middle linebacker. Kind of just a weird draft from the Jags. They drafted a couple middle linebackers after paying the dude to come over from the Falcons. It was just kind of a logjam. And I feel he's still a normal dev, but probably could get the reps needed. He's only 26. We could finish out his career nicely. Get him a couple dev traits. He can be a nice big-time player, starter for our defense. So that is exactly what we're going to do. Get one new upgrade on both sides of the football. But we're going to be going into this draft. It's going to be a boring draft. We're going to have to almost go exclusively on the offensive line. Need a left tackle. Arguably, I need a center. Arguably, need a right guard. That's what we're going to try to get. So that future first-round pick that we traded for ended up being the 2nd overall pick in the draft. I don't want to say the bad news, but the bad news is I didn't do a lot of scouting up there. I completely botched seeing where my additional first-round pick was. I did scout this D tackle, not knowing if there was going to be a chance. 6'1", 310, a little bit undersized. 2 A's and a B, got the C block shed. Looks pretty good. Pretty good. Nothing amazing, though. Don't necessarily know if that's a home run. I'm honestly thinking, do we trade this one again? Because the pick that I want, the pick that I was like, that's the guy I'm going to get, is Franklin Bradshaw here at tackle. Double A, double B. Looks like a solid pick. We are 2nd first-round picks at pick 20. He should be available at pick 20. We did homework on, there's a center that looked pretty nice here. Look at this guy, triple A and a B. He's 3rd, 4th round. I was like, all right, we'll grab that guy in the 2nd round. Those are 2 of the positions of need that I want. Not the strongest class there at tackle. And unfortunately, I mean, I didn't do my homework on all the defensive linemen here. Top 5 here, Eddie Higgins. A little bit undersized for a scheme fit. Also not a ridiculous athlete. So, like, I don't feel overly confident making, like, a blind pick there. I honestly think at this spot, I want to see if what can we get on trading. Can I get a second round pick so it makes that center that I want to target the second round a little bit more available, plus another first rounder? But this got to be a hole. This is number 2 overall pick. We got a first and a first from Chicago. First and a first from the Bengals. I mean, that's pretty much what we're going to get, right? I would say in a perfect world, if a team had 2 first rounders in 2026, okay, we definitely don't want the Chiefs pick. I mean, we're getting double firsts, which is fine. I mean, now I'm going to look at this as like, what team here is most likely going to have the shittiest pick? Can we repeat our luck? The Jag, they sim pretty well. Patriots there. Raiders sim well. Commanders sim well. Seattle. Honestly, it might be the Titans. Yeah, right. I'm taking Tampa. Yeah, right. It's either the Bears or the Titans here. Pick 11. Pick 13. We'll go with Titans. I'm going to trade out of this spot. We'll do it. All right, and now with our pick here at 20, we're going to grab our tackle. Still sitting there, Franklin Bradshaw, going to be a day 1 starter. Hopefully an immediate upgrade over Noteboom, and it looks to be the case. I was honestly going to trade out again, see if I get another first rounder, but I got sucked in, dude. Curtis Clement, you know what I like to look for in a pink slips corner, regardless if it's pink slips or not. 6'4", 210. Wish I knew what that zone was, but I want to gamble on the athlete. First 40-yard dash, second in the 3-cone, fifth in the 20-yard shuttle, elite jumping, elite speed, elite acceleration. Womp womp. Luckily for us, pick 20 in the second round, we're able to really get our last player that I really wanted to hit on. And that is Stetson Bennett. 3 A's and a B, center. Likely going to be a starter. Pretty good athlete as well. That's just a nice, easy pick right there to make in the second round. Big position of need for us as well. And take a look at our draft recap. Getting 2 players that I wanted. And hey, at least the height, weight, speed, freaky corner that rolled with a disappointing normal dev popped as a 77 overall. He's going to be probably one of the best players in this draft. Bradshaw, 74 hidden dev. We got Bennett, 72 hidden dev. Both those guys are going to be starters. And honestly, Clement is going to get an opportunity to start and hopefully get some defensive rookie of the year nods. Get off that normal dev trait. Rest of the draft, just kind of simmed it out there, following the draft board. Nothing too crazy. But I mean, that's 77. That's going to be up there for one of the top picks in this draft class, I think. And it is. He's the number 1 overall player. Let's go. Being able to land that. And I mean, for our pick, we didn't really have a whole lot of other options that I was really considering. I mean, Marion, I guess this guy was the only other guy that looked even remotely interesting if we stayed at pick number 2. I mean, we'll always just sneak a little bit. And he's normal def. So, like, we're laughing. We're laughing. That is back-to-back drafts. We made the right decision by trading versus just trusting our draft board. And now we're going to go into next year's draft with a bunch of ammunition that if we can find a guy who looks like a bona fide generational talent, we're going to have more than enough ammunition to go up and get him. Also would help if, much like this year, the first round pick that we acquired ends up being a top 3, top 5 pick. Over here for year 3, just a quick update of where our squad's at, because obviously we got a couple new starters here. We got a new starting center and left tackle. Optimism is high that they're going to be able to hit the ground running. We got Frymouth now, a big upgrade at tight end, but it's really the Cooper Kupp, Stetson Bennett show on the offensive side of the ball, and hopefully that continues that level of dominance. On the defensive side, Clement is going to start as a rookie, highest overall, number 1 true talent player, whatever you want to call it. Which, I mean, why they get rid of that feature? That was always cool when you made your draft pick and it would tell you how good they were. Now you have to manually do it. Whatever. But the rest of the team is ready to run it back with the addition of Devin Lloyd at middle linebacker. So I'm optimistic here. Maybe we'll have an opportunity at winning a divisional title here in year 3. And midway point of year 3, we are sitting atop of the division, which is really the next goal, is to win the NFC West. And we're sitting there with a top 15 offense, top 10 defense, which looks great. Numbers are dipping a little bit. Wonder if you're starting to hit that window with Cooper Kupp. Doesn't look like he's necessarily running away with all the stats, but he's also right up there with the top second leading receiver in the league. Let's take a look at some contracts here. Salary cap is yet to be an issue. I think given them where our roster started at, I don't think we're going to have really any difficulty, re-signing anybody that's worth re-signing or being aggressive in free agency. Because not only was our roster bullshit and terrible, it was inexpensive. And now with Stetson Bennett really developing along, we're doing this all on a rookie quarterback contract. So we're going to let all these guys walk and have potentially another big free agency period going into year 4. Year 3, we can check off winning the division here as we go 12-5. Not only 12-5, first round bye. We are the 1 seed in the NFC, which is awesome. But look, Cooper Kupp slowing down a little bit, not putting up godlike numbers, still putting up ridiculously good numbers. I wonder if that coincides with Stetson Bennett. I mean, it does a little bit. His numbers are down a little bit, so it does let you know really who's pulling the strings here on the offense. But hey, if we're going to consider and call Stetson Bennett a passenger in this offense, he's doing a hell of a job here. 27 years old, up to an X factor, running the offense, ready to go on a deep playoff run, 39 touchdowns. Cam Akers has been solid for such a pass-heavy offense, but who we're kidding? 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns, still ridiculous. We would dream getting that on pretty much any other sim that we do. Finally, T. Higgins is getting his. I guess if you told me Cooper Kupp can only put up S-tier numbers and not godlike numbers, but by him only putting up S-tier, it kind of allows T. Higgins to eat a little bit and justify the contract that we paid to get him in free agency. I'd probably would honestly take that at this point. We've already had those 2 godlike numbers for Cooper Kupp. He could take a little bit of a step back and let T. Higgins carry some of the offense. Frymouth, solid year. Maybe with like a little bit more yards there, but 8 touchdowns is pretty good. Van Jefferson as well. Defensively, Lloyd and Jones both go over 100 tackles. We got 12.5 sacks, Aaron Donald, 10 from Michael Height. 3 picks, Grant Delpit leading the team. Sack numbers are dipping. Interesting that our best team year kind of comes, in a weird spot here. We got Mahomes wins the MVP in the NFC. I mean, this has been a team that's unfortunately not got any award winners. Hey, there we go. Clement gets a chance at a dev trait by winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. That is pretty cool. All things considered, pretty cool. But I mean, we really did miss. We missed the window there for Cooper Kupp winning it. Like, if a wide receiver, if a non-quarterback is going to win the MVP, it should happen, in one of these big years. And we've been unfortunately stuck with Cooper Kupp, his ceiling, if you will, being Offensive Player of the Year. It helps Stetson Bennett gets Offensive Rookie of the Year, but those 2 years, at least in one of those 2 years, if a wide receiver is ever going to win MVP, it should have been then. All right, well, we got our playoff run here in year number 3. We got the Defensive Rookie of the Year. We got a lot of things going here in the offense, and we get a nice roll here. Not in the divisional round. As the 1 seed, we're taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Surely this is not going to be a one and done, and we actually pull a Dallas Cowboy where we are the number 1 seed, and we lose our first playoff game. All right, back to the drawing board for year 4. Year 3 closes. Surprise, surprise. The Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. But more so looking at our squad, looking at the dev traits. Who did what? Who went up? Who went down? On the offensive side, we are getting regression now from Cooper Kupp, which makes no sense. He's playing still at a ridiculously high level. But it also makes you appreciate the fact that we got T. Higgins here to take over as wide receiver 1 as Kupp reaches old man stages. Bennett and Bradshaw were the 2 hidden dev from our rookie class. Both of them just pop as a star. On the defensive side, Clement was a normal dev, but he won Defensive Rookie of the Year, so he is up to a star dev. I was kind of hoping that maybe Devin Lloyd now as a full-time starter here would have an opportunity to go up dev trade. He did not. No other devs up or down, which, as long as we're not going backwards, I'll take that as a win. We've had a couple big free agency pairs. Got to be humble here a little bit. There are some top names that we could go after for overkill. Garrett Wilson. If we're going to, Cooper Kupp starting to regress. He's a slot. Wilson and Higgins on the outside with Cooper in the slot. Sounds pretty decent. Jordan Davis at nose tackle could be a get, but we've signed him, I think, probably 2 or 3 times in the last couple months in rebuilds as like a focal point. So, I mean, I don't know. I just want to do a little bit different. We definitely do need a new guard to kind of complete our offensive line. So we're going to put all of our eggs in one basket here for Zion Johnson at right guard. We land him. Now all of our focus shifts towards the draft. 2 first-round picks. Can we be aggressive and move up, or are we going to be able to just sit where we are and get 2 diamonds, 2 studs to fall into our lap? So we're at a spot right now. We have 2 first-round picks. I'm not seeing anyone outside of Antoine Wilkinson that's going to be like worth trading up for. He's top 3 pick. 2 A's, 2 B's. The combine looks great. Elite jumping. Maybe not S tier, but he looks like he's going to be a pretty damn good player. And we're going in year 4. Year 4, year 5. What are we going to do? Hold our next, get a rookie for our 5th and final year rebuild. It's going to be unlikely that they're going to be able to contribute. He can come in right away, play on that front 3, learn a little bit. Looking at the most recent mock drafts, just kind of getting an idea of where he's going to go, where we need to trade up to. Well, our first pick is, we got 9. So we're going to pick 9 and then a pick in the 20s. And we are going to have to try, not to move up that much. Like, we might be able to look at like Baltimore, pick up the phone, call Baltimore, call New England, and see if we can get Wilkinson, top 5 talent. It only cost us our 2nd round pick to move up 4 spots so that we can go in and secure the services of the best player, I think, into this year's draft class at a position where he's going to be able to get on the field and contribute. Antoine Wilkinson, top 5 in talent. Welcome to the LA Rams. So our other position of need, I mean, there's a couple, but at least for how it relates to this draft and where I think there's still some value in the draft, would be at the wide receiver spot. And there was 2 wide receivers that we kind of identified here. One is anytime you get a deep threat wide receiver with a deep route running, they're probably going to be pretty good. And I feel stylistically, you get that 4-2-4 guy that also comes first in the 3-cone drill. That is always going to be pretty good. Or stylistically here, we have Mitch Shelton, who's 6'5", 225 with double A's and a B. No real deep route running, which is fine. But like as terms of like key ratings on a wide receiver, you're not going to get a lot better than that. In fact, he comes in with a profile where he runs a 4.4. Athletically speaking, it's not the best. But I think for our squad, how our team is built right now, that's like T. Higgins. This is T. Higgins. T. Higgins, we have our 6'4 kind of jump ball guy, if you will. Cooper Kupp's our slot guy. Someone like Will Pettis is going to offer us some speed. And I mean, it is, out of all the positions, wide receiver, the key ratings mean absolutely nothing. Give me 1 rating, give me speed. They're going to be great. And that's exactly what Will Pettis is going to be. So we're very happy with the first round of our draft. Rest of the draft was, it was what it was. Wasn't particularly strong. Got a couple of nice value picks. But Will Pettis is 70. Like, there's no way that a player that gets scouted that has like C's and D's in their skills should be this highly rated. Again, key ratings for wide receivers mean nothing. Give me we got the A deep route running, which is 79, which is still not even particularly good, but I mean, for a rookie, it's not that bad. But you go by the combine, 98 speed, 98 acceleration, 90 agility, 86 jumping, 90 change of direction. Definitely a skill set that we did not previously have in the room. And then we have our top 5 talent here in Antoine Wilkinson, 77 hidden dev run stuffer. He'll likely transition to defensive end. Or we can honestly have him as like an undersized nose. I don't know. We'll figure out what's going to be the best role for him on this defense, but very happy to get both those picks here in year 4 because we'll be able to develop year 4 and be that much better year 5, final year of this rebuild. All right, year 4, competitive between us this year. I mean, only 1 game separates first place to last place, so we know it's going to come down to the wire. And while we've had a lot of success in this rebuild, we're still only an 88 overall, which is good, but not necessarily C4 rebuild good. We're going into year 4, probably on like the middle to lower end in terms of like my team overall. Maybe we've trusted a little too much in our team development and just kind of sticking with the guys. But I mean, we're coming along. The O-line's pretty solid across the board. Still got Havenstein doing his thing. Avila, part of that first draft class with the boost up to a 90 overall. But, we gotta flip it into gear here a little bit. Pettis, our second first round pick. His depth trait got unveiled as a star. On the defensive side, Wilkinson, only a star. So top 5 in true talent in the draft class. I don't know if you guys, much like myself, are getting our hopes up for a superstar or an X Factor, but getting a star dev and a top 5 true talent, I think generally we've gotten pretty mid rolls of generated draft classes, which kind of sucks because we've been flirting with multiple first round draft picks for a lot of the drafts in this rebuild, and there just hasn't been, you know, that obvious selection. So, you know, our roster could be better. We're gonna likely have the salary cap to get better in year 5, especially if things shape up for a year 5 Super Bowl or bust. But first, let's look at contracts with $122 million. Who needs to get re-signed? Who needs to be a part of this rebuild long term? We have Nick Hampton. He's been serviceable. Probably could at least see if there's going to be an upgrade to be had. Same with Byron Young as our 2 edge rushers there. But yeah, and there's no interest. Like, if there was interest, maybe I'd be a little bit more optimistic. But hey, you know what? We'll keep at least one of them, Byron Young. I like the athletic profile coming out of Tennessee. Havenstein at tackle. I mean, he's one of the originals. Let's see if we can get him here on a 1 year, 7.5. Yeah, sure. Probably could upgrade on the market, but I mean, he's not going to be a liability. Hodges Tomlinson's been awesome. He's developed nicely. He's also not going to be super expensive. He is a slot corner. Those guys kind of price themselves into a certain bracket of contract, and luckily we're able to pay that. We have Stetson Bennett, who, I mean, has been very good in this rebuild. His connection with Cooper Kupp has been awesome. And even, I mean, I'm lucky that we can get a X-Factor quarterback signed for not $300 million. That is a bargain in today's market. We have Steve Avila, who is at least like the big name from the Rams 2023 draft class. I'd like to keep him here for the remainder of the rebuild, get him locked into 3 years. The salary cap is starting to dwindle here a little bit. We get Trevon Diggs, get him for the final year of this rebuild. And with $42 million remaining, well, he's just the best player in Madden Sim at the wide receiver spot. Cooper Kupp, 3 years. So we got $24 million of available salary cap. Looking at our roster here, we're going to need a new edge rusher to take over Nick Hampton. With the boost that we likely will get from salary cap going up, I mean, we'll be optimistic we have $45 million to try to improve this team ahead of year 5. And year 4 finishes with an NFC West title, 10-7, and our team went from what? We were 87, 88. We're up to 89. We're flirting with that 90 territory, which is, I think, the benchmark of like a good rebuild. We can get our team up above that 90 threshold. Take a look at these stats here. Whoa, where's Cooper Kupp? Well, this might be the first year to see if, like, what's Stetson Bennett doing. And look, yeah, you know, Cooper Kupp kind of starts to fall off a little bit. So does Stetson Bennett. Way too many interceptions to be considered elite, but he still had a good season, 37 touchdowns. Okay, decent numbers, Cam Akers. Whoa. You know what happened? I know what happened. My depth chart reset, and Cooper Kupp didn't play in the slot. Will Pettis did, the rookie. 13, almost 14 yards, 10 touchdowns. I mean, if that plays him into Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation, gets him up to a superstar for year 5, it's probably going to help the diversification of our wide receiver room. Great year from T. Higgins, but definitely don't want to see that just weird blip for Cooper Kupp. We'll definitely finish with him in the slot next year. Jones and Lloyd over 100 tackles, 5 picks for Ernest Jones. Great year for him. 12.5 sacks, Aaron Donald, 8 from Antoine Wilkinson, 7 from Michael Hoyt. And, all right, you know, Delpit, Hodges, Tomlinson, 3 picks apiece. Yearly awards, MVP goes to Josh Allen. All right. Looking quickly for the NFC. Look at Will Pettis, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Hopefully that's a dev trait. That'd be a superstar. Wilkinson, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Hopefully a dev trait. That'd be a superstar. That'd be almost as good as any free agent signing that we could make on the open market. So that is dubs across the board, but now hopefully we can take these off-field dubs into on-field dubs. First round of the playoffs here. We've had not really a lot of playoff success outside of that first year we went to the NFC Championship game, but hopefully we can spin this into at least another NFC Championship appearance. We handle the Vikings 34-28. Next up is the 12-5 Chicago Bears, trying to run through the NFC North. Can we do it? Can we get our second championship game of the rebuild? And we just fall flat. 31-13 to the Bears in year 4. We dust ourselves off. We hopefully have a couple new dev traits. And we go into year 5 with spending all of our salary cap and making this team a juggernaut. It's what's going to happen around Stetson Bennett and company. All right, moment of truth. We got our 2 end-of-season upgrades here. Will Pettis and Wilkinson. Will Pettis, Offensive Rookie of the Year. He was a star dev. We'll spend this right here in a deep threat because that's really what he's going to be for our offense. And he goes from star dev to superstar. Let's go. Exactly what we're looking for. Because it's not always automatic. I'd say it's probably 85% of the time you'll get that dev trade increase. Antoine Wilkinson, our Defensive Rookie of the Year. Top 5 in true talent. Thought he'd be superstar out the box, but had to go in his rookie season and prove it. And he also gets himself a superstar dev. The rich get richer. Really, I think the only way this rebuild gets fucked up is if either one of Aaron Donald or Cooper Kupp retired this offseason. I don't know. Someone retired. Ooh. All right. I mean, that's a big hit. Obviously, Aaron Donald, incredible, generational talent, first ballot Hall of Famer. Not as big of a loss at right tackle. Havenstein, I more so re-signed him just to keep one of the original pieces in place. That actually, we can probably upgrade at right tackle. And Wilkinson, who we got that superstar dev. I mean, it's his turn. He's going to be our Aaron Donald replacement. Could have been worse. Could have lost both Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp. Luckily, we keep Kupp for the 5th and final year of this rebuild. And the division got a little bit easier. Aaron Jones and Hopkins gone from the Cardinals. We'll start our final free agency period out. We got Brian O'Neill. So there right there is almost a 10-point upgrade at right tackle. I got Trenton Simpson here as a linebacker. Now, this is the guy that I talked about during my draft process. He's an off-ball linebacker, but I think he has a skill set potentially to be an edge rusher. I don't necessarily know how the stats are going to line up there. Not exactly. He's more of an athlete at this point. We could keep him. We could honestly kick him into middle linebacker. That would still be a solid role there. So, I mean, the only other positions in terms of like big upgrades would be like, a true nose tackle now. Could got Derek Brown. I thought it kind of against that. And an edge rusher. Just an upgraded edge. Got Van Ness there. Again, kind of like, is that necessarily a needle mover for us as a franchise right now? Unlikely. And you look at the other players available, it's probably just best sticking with what we got. Maybe we can luck out, find something during the draft, but there's no one that's going to immediately step up and replace Aaron Donald. That's going to be available to us in free agency. So at least we get an upgrade at right tackle, a nice little gadget at the linebacker spot here in Trenton Simpson. Another pet peeve, I'm just putting this in here late for everybody. I hate the generated schools that all these quarterbacks, like, it's just every now and again. Like, I just want to be like, is there going to be a quarterback from Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, any of these big schools? It's always fucking dumb schools for these top. Look at all these first rounders. Almost look at all these quarterbacks. All right, Texas Tech and Tech, those should be the first rounders. We got South Dakota. Have they ever had a draft pick at quarterback? Northwestern, that's a quarterback juggernaut. We got Princeton, Hawaii, Akron, and Texas State. Can we please fix this in Madden 24? How hard is it on the computer? Use AI at this point to fix this goddamn game and literally just make a certain pool of schools can only have first rounders. Because you know what? It's too much of a good thing. A good thing would be if you looked at these quarterbacks, right? And we got 4 first rounders. This is a nice little rant there. And say this was Sammy Urban out of Texas. This was Will McGraw out of Ohio State. This was RJ Green out of, we'll say Florida. And then you had this guy, Channing Surrey out of Princeton. You throw in that one guy, that's like, all right, big powerhouse schools. But like, oh man, this guy out of Princeton. That's going to make people like, go, maybe I want to draft this guy. Maybe I want to draft this guy from the small unheard of school. Or you do the vice versa, where like this guy here, Ohio State, Alabama, Texas, and then you got a Texas State quarterback out of nowhere. Like though that's definitely pushing the boundaries of realism or whatever. Like you want maybe occasionally to have the one small school quarterback. But when it's freakishly rare to have an actual school that's produced an NFL quarterback, a first round caliber quarterback as the anomaly, there's something wrong there. Like I don't know who came up with this design. It's terrible. So for our final draft, there's no Aaron Donald, but falling into our lap, pick 25, we have Donovan Campbell, 6'2", 307. Probably going to be a defensive end in our scheme. A tackle, B block shed, comes with pretty good combine numbers. 3rd in the bench press, top 10 in 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle at the combine. So it looks like a fairly nice player, great value for us at the end of the first round. All right, last draft, taking a little bit of a victory lap here. Rest of the draft wasn't particularly good, but we hit on the first rounder who actually might have a chance to contribute as a rookie. I'm going to be very excited to take a look at what that dev trait may potentially be when we get to our weekly training in the preseason. Looks like a very good player. So we don't get a little bit of a spoiler there, but still could be a superstar for Donovan Campbell. This is it, year 5 for the LA Rams with Stetson Bennett as our quarterback. We said all along, if we could go on and do this damn thing and win a Super Bowl, might be our crowning achievement here in Madden 23 for being able to, with those parameters, starting with, what was he, a 66 normal dev quarterback. So this is what our squad looks like. Mix of spending in free agency, drafting well, developing homegrown talent. Maybe a little less on the homegrown talent, because who we have originally here? Stetson Bennett, Cam Akers, Cooper Kupp, and Steve Avila were the original players. But, we got some mix of draft and free agency for the rest of the offense. It looks pretty potent, especially now with Cooper Kupp moving back into the slot. Hopefully we get that cheat code a little bit. On the defensive side, done also a pretty good job developing our own talent. Brown, Hoyt, Hodges, Tomlinson, Ernest Jones has been here a minute. Young and Fuller all have been original pieces that we've just kind of grown and stuck with and developed. Maybe not the craziest free agency signings, but, Trevon Diggs was a big get when we were able to bring him in and land him. Same with Grant Delpit as a superstar safety. So, all in all, very optimistic that this team is going to play well. Also needs a shout out. We got Matt Ariza completing his nice little re-entry into the NFL, just regressing, losing his dev trait, kind of being pretty mid, honestly. But it's all on the line here, man. We have more than enough talent to go on a Super Bowl run. Can Stetson Bennett and company find a way to do it? That's a respectable finish. 12-5, another NFC West title. I believe our third, for those of you that are keeping track at home, of the rebuild, which is pretty good. And look at that. Cooper Kupp back in the slot. Second in terms of receiving in the league. Take a look at our stats here. Stetson Bennett, just awesome, man. Thriving in this scheme, thriving in this system, thriving with his teammates. 4,800 yards, 45 touchdowns. 11-8 for Cam Akers. We have 119 catches, 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns for Cooper Kupp, 1,200 yards for T. Higgins, 9-8 for Pettis. 5, and we'll round that up. We'll be a little bit generous. 600 yards, give or take, for Freiermuth, and 9 receiving touchdowns. Defensively, Ernest Jones, over 100 tackles. Not a lot of picks to talk about. Wilkinson, 12 sacks, 10.5 for Byron Young, 8.5 for Michael Hoyt. Pretty good numbers. Not amazing, but being the first year without Aaron Donald, I think all things considered, not too bad. Patrick Mahomes wins the MVP with Stetson Bennett coming in at number 10. Just kind of quickly looking for some Rams here right out the bat. Cooper Kupp is wide receiver of the year. So, if we can go on a Super Bowl run, he'll likely be back up to a superstar X Factor for that game, which would be huge. While we're here, let's look at the career stats throughout this rebuild. 5 years in, Stetson Bennett, we'll round that up, around 24,000 yards passing, 207 touchdowns to 64 picks. Pretty good. Way better than expected. Way better than expected. Way better than pretty much anyone that clicked on this video expected. We got 7,300 yards, 47 touchdowns for Cam Akers. He was solid. Maybe a little bit underwhelming, all things considered, around 63 yards a game. I think that's probably more so the scheme, though. Our offense was get the ball to Cooper Kupp, not, try to establish the run. Cooper Kupp is, and even with the one down year, I can only imagine where these numbers would be. He'd probably have 18,000 or something like that yards if we didn't have that down year with him out the slot. He finishes with well over 1,000 receptions, 16,000 yards, 147 touchdowns. Ridiculous numbers. Everyone else obviously has played a couple different spots in their career. Defensively, Ernest Jones up around 800 tackles, which is good for him. Sacks, we got 40 sacks, 86 TFLs for Michael Hoyt, 32 sacks for Byron Young. Wilkinson, 25 TFLs, 20 sacks. Pretty solid. Interception numbers, obviously the top guys weren't on the squad. 14 picks, Ernest Jones. Best on the team that's been here for a minute. NFL records, where does Cooper Kupp kind of stand right now in his career? On receiving yards, he is just outside the top 5, and assuming he'd come back to play another year, that's likely number 2. He's getting up to number 2. I almost pissed, because if we didn't have that year that he got flexed, and it wasn't even my fault. I shouldn't be pissed. It wasn't me. It was a stupid game. If he didn't get auto set out of the slot, he would be second all-time in receiving yards, I think, in his career. He is in the top 5, 4 touchdowns at 147. Again, comes back for one more year. There's an alternate universe that if Madden didn't mess up our depth chart, Cooper Kupp is the second most productive wide receiver of all time. Absolutely awesome. Definitely, if you have thoughts about doing a Rams rebuild, look no further than this, because Cooper Kupp is absolutely awesome and makes him a joy to rebuild. But anyways, in the first round, we got the 9-8 New York Giants. Pretty good. Giants tend to be a pretty good team nowadays in the sim. They're an 8-8 overall. We're a 90. We are the home team, so I want to be a little bit optimistic that we can do the damn thing, and we do. But we are going to have to continue to run through the NFC East if we want any hopes of a Super Bowl. We'll get the Philadelphia Eagles here. But we do have a player of the week, and it is Ernest Jones. 5 tackles, got 2 interceptions. Looking at those career stats, he has the most interceptions out of anyone that's been here in this rebuild. And pretty fitting that he also gets that during a player of the week. It's also interesting that the other hot player that popped off in the playoffs is who we're about to see, Will McGraw. On the Philadelphia Eagles, no Jalen Hurts. Again, pretty much starting from a spot where there's no contracts updated. Jalen hasn't got the bag, so we have to figure out a way to stop that here. Hopefully it's not a wet fart of a finale here in this rebuild. We got the Eagles, and we handle business 31-14, setting up a divisional rivalry NFC Championship game against the Niners. We'll hop in. The Niners kick the shit out of the Bucs, 56-35. Waiting us on the other side likely will probably be the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But let's see, what happened here? Who did what? Who went off? Was it Stetson Bennett? It absolutely was Stetson Bennett. 250 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Was it Cooper Kupp? I mean, everyone kind of chipped in 2 touchdowns for Freiermuth, but outstanding that Stetson Bennett is at least playing equal to the best football of his career when we need to. He's a perennial winner. We need him to show up. We're going to hop in front row seats as the 11-6 San Francisco 49ers take on the 12-5 LA Rams in the NFC Championship game. Super Bowl is on the line. Don't let me down, fellas. Come on, they got Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is not going to thrive in this moment. Just got to sack him, knock him out of the game, have them complain that they don't have 8 quarterbacks available on their depth chart, and move on to the Super Bowl. That is what we need. The blueprint has been out on how to beat the Niners in a championship game, and we're out to a hot start here. 21-3. This is men versus boys. Come on. Stetson Bennett, that's all he does. Stetson Bennett, you put him in the big game. We haven't been here since year 1, which was still shocking to me. That year 1 we had that amount of success. Our team's only got better, yet we've 4-year gap for us to get back to this point. But it is a dominant performance here. Let's do swoops. Go down here, finish the game. 41-10. What do we got? Who went off? Stetson Bennett just crushed it. Crushed it. Look at that. 358 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's on fire. Even if we had to go take on the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, he's playing the best. He's the best player right now in the league. Oh, the Chiefs got beat. The Super Bowl is set. A Pratt Freiermuth revenge. 12-5 Rams, 12-5 Steelers. The success of this rebuild hinges on being able to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers and go on and win the Super Bowl. But our quarterback is playing lights out. I don't care that they got George Pickens. I don't care that they got probably TJ Watt still doing the damn thing. Don't care, because what we got is Stetson Bennett, who has 7 touchdowns, no picks in this. Oh shit, they got Lamar Jackson. Like that would happen. Like Lamar would jump to the Steelers. All right. Lamar Jackson, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Stetson Bennett, the Rams. Strike first. Back-to-back scores. Deficit for the Steelers. We give them a field goal. But this is a very, very nice first half. I hate that, though. Giving the Steelers a touchdown to end the first half. Giving all the momentum. Luckily, it'll get a touchdown here. 21-10 into the fourth. We got to hold on. This would be an all-time collapse if we let them score a touchdown. 2-point conversion tied up at 21 here, which is pretty much automatic at this point. Big field goal. We make it. Minute 12. Shit. All right, 25 seconds. Stetson Bennett time. We do have all our timeouts. Don't have crazy speed outside of Pettis. Don't need to get all in one play. Stetson Bennett has an 88 throw power, which is not amazing. But if we can get this out to the sidelines. There we go. Out of bounds. Stetson Bennett, not the greatest game. 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Also not the worst. Still got all of our timeouts. Need a touchdown. Field goal does us no good. But also can still work the middle of the field. Right here. Boom. Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp! That took a couple seconds. Timeout. Can still work the middle of the field. No pressure. We literally have, if you're getting obviously he's a seasoned veteran right now. We got some pretty good plays here. Honestly, I'll stick with these 2 plays that we got. Well, you got a guy that's out the box, Stetson Bennett. You have to say one thing about him, even if you don't think he's going to be an NFL quarterback. You got to say this guy has the moxie that this moment wouldn't be too big for him. His X Factor's telling us just to throw it underneath the Cooper Kupp. Keep moving the chains. Debatably was a late hit there. We got pro reads as his X Factor ability, so hopefully it's going to be dummy mode and will tell me who to throw the football to every single time. We got 4 verts on the 13. Don't love this call, but I like this call from the standpoint that if Cooper Kupp can beat his man off the line, it doesn't look like there's much following him. Just throw it in. As long as that middle linebacker. Cooper Kupp just... Who you got? This guy gets 16. This guy shits out 1,600-yard seasons as a down year, and you put like a no-name nickel on him. And there we go, man. Had to get a little bit of push, a little bit of user assistance to get this one over the line. But it still counts nonetheless. Stetson Bennett and the worst team that exists in Madden 23 with a draft class that had no first-round talent. We go out and we do the damn thing. Help that we had some nice salary cap, especially once we get Matt Stafford's contract off the books because we're already committed with Stetson Bennett. But it is a Super Bowl nonetheless, another one in the books. And I need you guys in the comments. Let me know who you want to do next. I think Seattle would be interesting, you know, doubling it back up here in the NFC West. Given their draft class, Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon would be pretty cool. I've had a lot of people shouting out the Falcons with like a Bijan Robinson rebuild. Let me know in the comment section below what fallout from the 2023 NFL Draft rebuild do you want to see next. But I hope you did enjoy seeing Stetson Bennett hoist a Super Bowl trophy for the Rams. That'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, first time stopping by, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. Until next time, peace out, love ya. Have a good one.